You're listening to Wellbeing Connection, the CMHA Manitoba and Winnipeg podcast. I'm your host, James Wellsman.
The Canadian Mental Health Association, Manitoba and Winnipeg wishes to acknowledge that we are gathered in Treaty 1 territory at the crossroads of the Anishinaabe, Métis, Cree, Dakota, Ojibwe nations, and on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe peoples and the homeland of the Métis Nation.
In today's episode, you can hear a ride update from James and Brandon in Brandon's Ride 330 Challenge. Following that, we have an interview with Reid, CEO of GFit Wellness. Welcome to the show.
None of the content in this podcast is intended to replace the advice given to you by your medical team. If you are in crisis, please phone the Manitoba Suicide Prevention and Support Line at 1-877-435-7170 or text CONNECT to 686868 for the Kids Help Phone.
Hey, Brandon, it's so great to have you here. I wanted to start this ride update by just letting you know how inspired I am by the action you've taken. It's nothing short of heroic to be doing what you're doing, the Ride 330 Challenge, doing it with a purpose in mind, training your heart out, going through the ups and downs. It's been so great to get to know you through this time podcasting together. And I just wanted to start off by just letting you as well as the listeners know, like, Brandon, you're doing absolutely fantastic. And we're so happy to have you doing this amazing action. And so I'll start off with some of the fundraising numbers. We are at 58,000. So that's really amazing. We need to keep connecting, keep just reaching out, having a conversation. It's so important not to just connect, but to have a conversation. Those meaningful connections do come through conversation. And so having those chats with your parents, with your grandparents, your friends, as things start to loosen up and as we get out of this lockdown situation, just so important to reconnect through talking, sharing, being vulnerable. So I'll pass it off to you, Brandon.
Thanks, James. Well, it's so thank you for those kind words. It's really nice to hear that there is these ripple effects, and so we talk about that and we hope for that, and so it's nice to know that that's what's happening. So I'm happy to be, I think I've been so fortunate to be inspired by so many amazing people in my life, and so it's certainly humbling. Privileged to be able to start the process and maybe inspiring other people to start a journey that improves their wellness or challenges them to do something. So yeah, it's that's great to hear. And also, that fundraising numbers are getting up higher, and that's ultimately what we're here for, to keep the money coming in to support programming for our youth and things like that. These are all things that I think about, that all of us think about while we do this. We think about why we ride, which is to promote wellness, and to also obviously raise funds for some of the programming in our communities across the province here. So, and James, we're approaching the big day, the big weekend now. So it's getting close. I was gonna say, how are you feeling about it, James? And I was, but recognizing that it's me that has to do it.
Yeah. Well, we've all taken on so much with this. It's been a real process. Like, I remember sitting down with you with the podcast initially, and we're sort of thinking, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to be co-hosting together. What's that going to look like? It's been really cool to get to know you, to learn. Yeah.
We've really been on this journey together through this podcast, which has been pretty cool. We've covered a lot of really neat topics, had some fantastic guests over the course of the last month or so. It's been a pretty encouraging, just awesome experience to be a part of this and to share part of my journey. But really, at the end of the day, it's awesome when this isn't about me. It's about sharing the journey that a lot of us are going through right now. Whether that's Juno, other guests, Emily, that's doing it with me, or sharing from Marion about kind of the importance of the youth programming and the ripple effects that we've seen. So yeah, culminate for the ride this weekend. So yeah, in terms of that component of things, we're ready in terms of we have bikes. So that's good. Obviously, I had mine ready to go, but we're a team of 4 now, so everybody has their bikes, and people are prepping and getting ready for that. We've been really fortunate to have a bit of a bike expert, a guy named Curry, part of Bike Week Winnipeg, and numerous other biking organizations and groups. And I'm sure I'm not doing him justice at all, so I hope apologies if you're listening, Curry. But we're just been so grateful to have him there to give us some advice in terms of how to align your bike and things that make a difference, how the seat is angled and the height, and we got all of those things tuned up. And I rode it on Sunday after, and it just felt like a brand new bike. So it's amazing how when you put the time and effort into tweaking some of these little things, how important it is. And in some ways, I felt like, kind of translates to a lot of other life components too, right? When we talk about like wellness, right? And like I always talk about, when I'm doing my job and I'm supporting people with a work-life balance, and we talk about all the other things you need to do outside of work, or all those little things that contribute to being successful at work. This was exactly what happened with my bike. There were things that I didn't even think about that made just the biggest of difference. And I branched out to somebody that I knew and trusted to support with that, and he gave a few tweaks, and so anyway, so we're really feeling those effects now. And this week is going to be a mix of making sure to last bit of fundraising push. Obviously, it's Spirit Week too. It's Ride Don't Hide plus Spirit Week. If you haven't already, obviously go to ridedon'thide.com/Manitoba and check out all the Spirit Week events. The Spirit Week schedule today, it's obviously, National Indigenous Peoples Day, so there's going to be some activities there. Brought to you by CMHA Thompson. So I'm just going to click the link here. Obviously, when you click the link, there's a donate now option. So whether that's $5, $10, $25, $300, $1,000, make sure to give something there to support and say thanks for the video and for the activities. So today it's Bannock making 2 ways. So I'm gonna hold back and not press the play button on that, because I love Bannock and I really want to see about that. The description talks about saying it's Bannock making 2 ways to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. We're joining a nice lady named Darlene. She's the homeless outreach mentor with CMHA Thompson, and she shares her family's coveted Bannock recipe and how you can make it 2 ways. So I've always eaten Bannock, never made it myself. So in addition to that, we also have a blessing by Elder Stan Kipling. Greetings from Mayor Brian Bowman are there live now, as well as Minister Audrey Gordon. So head to ridedon'thide.com/Manitoba to check out all the fun Spirit Week activities. And the important part is that this might be your ride. You might say, I'm just going to do the Spirit Week activities, and that's awesome. But don't forget the don't hide part of it, right, James? Is that they need to share this awesome stuff, right? It's like if you discovered, a really cool recipe, you often share that with your friends. And this is this is one other thing that we shouldn't hide. We should share it with others and encourage them to participate and donate. It'd be awesome. So
And you know what? I've really, through this process, realized how important it is to have those conversations. And that was sort of highlighted to me by doing this podcast and having those real conversations with people, hearing what people love to do, just hearing all that kind of stuff. I encourage you not only to share, but to share in a way that's a real personal connecting kind of way. So give that loved one a call, share and say, like, you know what, I'm so proud of myself. I started getting more active. I committed to a ride and I'm doing it. This is so amazing. And the people you love will be so happy to hear that. And I think that you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Instagram, something like that. But I think when you get like to the true meaning of the connection and everything now that people are fully vaccinated and everything. And we got to reconnect with people to make sure that we're going about everything in the most personal way as possible, because that's what it's all about. We're trying to help the youth become more connected by being empowered to stand up for their own mental health and to participate in the programs that the youth mental health services provide. These are all just such important things, and it all comes back to the connection, and it's so important for your well-being. I mean, when it comes to the podcast name, how could it be anything else, right? This is what it's all about, connecting and connecting with our well-being.
Yeah, and I was just going to, speaking of connection, we just also wanted to quickly highlight one of our staff members, her dad. I was made aware that this weekend he's doing a ride from Winnipeg to Falcon Lake for his ride. So I just thought that was so awesome too. So a bit of a shout out. I think we're going to do a bit of an interview with him for our CMHA social media soon. So super amazing to hear about that.
You know what? It's all so cool. And just on a personal note, Brandon, like, feel free if you're ever having some doubts or going like, I don't know if I can get those extra few kilometers in. You know what? Give me a shout, give me a call, something like that. And you at home, like, you can do this too. Like, if you know someone's struggling out there, if you know someone really wants to contribute to something meaningful, just let them know you're there to support, and that you're there to support their ride. If it's through Ride Don't Hide, and we encourage it through Ride Don't Hide, because we know how important that is. Just, you know what, Brandon, good luck this weekend. Let's make this as amazing as possible. Let's really make those connections. And you know what, just, I don't know if I'm in a position to say I'm proud of you, but you know what, I'm proud of you. It's like, we've both grown a lot together through this process.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. It's been quite the journey. And next week we'll have a recap of how it went. So it'll be live and true and honest, because it'll be probably a Monday morning when we chat and record our next segment, and it'll be fresh off the ride. So stay tuned for that next piece about how it went. And yeah, again, just don't forget to check out the Spirit Week programming, ridedon'thide.com/Manitoba, and check out everything that's happening.
Okay.
Do what you can.
Thanks so much, Brandon. And so next we have an interview with Grant Reid, who is the CEO of GFit. I'm so excited for you to hear this. What an incredible guy, incredible mission, incredible values. Everything was just so incredible about this interview. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hi, Grant. So exciting to have you on today. Just read so much about GFit, heard so much about our partnership from CMHA Manitoba and Winnipeg and GFit Wellness. So welcome to the Wellbeing Connection podcast. I'd love to hear something about your work. So how about you let us know and the listeners know what you're all about and what your mission is?
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. We absolutely love the partnership with the CMHA. It's something that we're extremely proud about. And in terms of GFit, what we do is we provide one-on-one online virtual coaching to both individuals and as well corporations and their employees. We're one of Canada's fastest growing online wellness coaching platforms. We've worked with over 10,000 people, transforming their lives, helping them become happier, healthier, more confident, improving their energy, increasing their vitality and longevity. We've got a huge and incredible team of over 50 health professionals, including doctors, registered dietitians, clinical psychologists, wellness coaches, and more. And, I founded GFit as a passion project nearly 10 years ago. I also had another career at the time. So I was doing both, burning the candle at both ends. And we quickly achieved some incredible results with our clients where they were very, very happy. And that made it easy for me to take the leap of faith and, jump over to doing GFit full time. because obviously I really loved helping people. And when I fast forward, almost 10 years later, it's been quite a ride. So when we look at the technology that we've added over the last couple of years with the GFit portal, which is a one-stop shop for all things wellness, it's kind of like a Apple Fitness Plus or a Peloton for the exercise portion, crossed with a Calm or Headspace with the mental health portion, with the guided meditations, yoga, podcasts, and books, plus a Noom or a nutrition section, because we've got hundreds of recipes designed by our registered dietitians. It's just really, really exciting times because having that technology in place, it gives us a larger platform and allows us to connect with more and more people, all across Canada and essentially all over the world. So we're just really, really excited of what the future has in store for us.
So Brandon, really sounds like there's this wellness 360, this idea of a 360 degree look at our wellness. And I understand that you too have some videos, you have some opportunities for people to connect virtually during the pandemic. Wondering if you can talk a little bit more about how people can get involved in GFit.
Yeah, so there's many ways that you can connect with GFit. We host a lot of virtual exercise classes online through our social media platforms like Instagram. We also co-host mental health webinars with the Canadian Mental Health Association, where we deliver some amazing courses on, how to manage stress, coping skills, self-compassion, things like that. As well, we do have our online portal. So if you are a member of GFit, it's a tremendous resource. We have, over 500 guided exercise on demand classes led by our fitness instructors that, are really great in a time like now, because, the gyms are closed. So it's, difficult for people, and you can do all of these exercise classes from the comfort and the safety of your own home.
And so when we think about, people working and, this vocational wellness, and we think about people who, are essential service folks, right? Where they are, in their job 5, 6, 7 times a week. They're trying to look after their health. They're trying to look after their well-being. What would you suggest for folks that are, trying to figure out how to balance these sorts of things? Maybe you have some prescriptions.
Yeah, for sure. Like if I can speak a little bit on my own personal experience. So, the past couple of years, we've experienced a lot of growth with GFit. We've essentially transformed from, a fitness company to a wellness company to a tech company. And now we've entered, the healthcare and the medicine field with our registered professionals and our doctors. And our team has grown from, not that many employees to, 50 and counting. So it's been taxing, it's been a big undertaking. And then you throw into the mix navigating through COVID-19 and a pandemic, and trying to thrive and not just survive during that time. And I found personally that it was starting to impact, my work-life balance, because I'm a servant leader, and anytime any of my teammates come to me and need my help, I drop what I'm doing, and I bend over backwards to help them. And it was starting to impact my physical health, my mental health, and my emotional health. So I had to really kind of, take check of what I was doing and implement some changes to my routine. So I basically, started out with sleep. I really doubled down and I focused on, getting a good night's sleep, putting the smartphone away a couple hours before bed, going to bed earlier, trying to, get in touch with my circadian rhythm and getting up early. Because if you have a restful sleep, you're more patient, you're calm, you have more energy, your ability to focus is greater. and you make much better decisions because you're using your prefrontal cortex is driving the decision making process rather than your primitive brain. So it all starts with that. Like first and foremost, sleep is very, very important, and I think often underrated. And from there, one of the biggest things that has really helped me and a lot of the clients that I work with is going for a walk every morning. As soon as you wake up, especially outdoors in nature, there's something about, feeling the sun on your skin, getting that vitamin D and feeling the wind, blow against you and seeing the trees and the leaves. It's just phenomenal for, reducing some of that stress and anxiety. And then, while I'm doing that, a lot of times I'll listen to an audiobook or a podcast, so that essentially I'm killing two birds with one stone. While I'm walking, I'm also learning something that I'm, very interested in. And when I get home, I always do a quick guided meditation. So like literally 10 to 12 minutes, I focus on my breathing. And that really has, helped me, reduce that stress and that anxiety and just be more calm and more focused, and even helped, I think, with my discipline when it comes to, eating healthy or staying true to my exercise. I think the meditation has been a game changer for me. And I bucked it for many years, but COVID-19, it taught me to meditate. So that's been a huge win for me. And then, other little things like, gratitude, something that it can be done literally in like 30 seconds. So after I meditate, I just think about a handful of things that I'm grateful for. And, there's a lot of studies that show, gratitude, it increases serotonin levels, it increases dopamine. And these are things that, taking antidepressants will also do for the brain. So there's huge benefits in something that only takes, a few seconds. And then from there, nutrition is key. I really cut back on a lot of the processed foods, sugars, alcohol, and focus more on whole natural foods, the healthy fats, avocados and olive oil and eggs and things like that. And I think that really helps with your cognitive abilities and just your overall, your clarity and how your brain functions. And recently I've even started doing some intermittent fasting where, I won't eat till 10 or 11 in the morning. And I find for people that maybe aren't as active and, you're not, maybe going to the gym, you're working from home, you're sitting at a desk more often, that's a good way to restrict your calories a little bit. And, there's also a lot of longevity benefits that come along with fasting as well.
So I imagine in terms of your productivity and your satisfaction, so this is what vocational wellness is all about, is increasing and gaining that satisfaction in the work that you're doing. I imagine this has had an impact on how you lead, how you connect with others, the innovation, and I looked at your website, you got some new videos, you got some new initiatives, this portal, which is amazing. Listeners, check it out, see how you can get involved in GFit and have access to that. I think that's great. But what's been the game changer? Like how has this work, these dimensions of activity changed the trajectory for you?
To be honest, I've always been a healthy eater and a fitness buff, so to speak. So I've always exercised and practiced good, solid nutrition.
And people can't see you right now, Grant, but you are fit, okay? Listeners, Grant has worked on himself, and we can see, both James and I can see the results of what it means to be disciplined. So just so you know, Grant's looking good. Okay.
Thank you.
Grant, I got to say, it's truly an honor as well to hear the vulnerability and all the stories you're sharing. It's so inspiring for all the people out there to hear that kind of thing, because when people are maybe wanting to make a change in their life, they could be intimidated by all by looking at the end result and seeing, well, how do I get all the way there? And then you realize that with everybody, it's a journey. It's a process of going through learning about yourself, learning how you interact with your environment, and finding that balance. And I think that's all of, from what I'm hearing about your work with GFit, it's about balance in your personal life as well as balance with making sure that GFit has the nutritional coaches, all the different elements that go into the company.
No, thank you. And I absolutely couldn't agree more. Like if you focus too much on your work, sooner or later, your health is going to start to suffer and your relationships are going to start to suffer. And if your health and your relationships start to suffer, well, then you're going to become stressed. You're going to be drained. That's going to impact your productivity and your focus at work. And then that's going to impact your work. So they're really all intertwined. And, going back to the routine that I mentioned earlier, I actually I structure it into my calendar. So I literally I carve out sections of time per day, for lunch, to meditate, to go for my walk. If I'm going to do a little bit of resistance training or workout, I put that in there as well. And you really have to make it a priority, because if you do all those things, you will be happier at work. You will be in a better mood. You will be more productive, and you'll get more done in an 8-hour day if as opposed to skipping, that wellness and those wellness activities. And going back to what Stephen mentioned, I think the game changer for me really was getting outside and going for a walk. Like it's something that I think in the past I would do exercise in a gym because that's what I was used to. And being in a situation where the gyms are closed and, there was no gym to go to, it forced me to go outside. And I just found that to be like literally revolutionary, especially when it comes to creativity. Like some of the best ideas that come to my mind is while I'm walking outside. It's phenomenal, like literally a game changer. Like I can't imagine not going for walks. And I'm scared when it comes to December and January and February and it gets cold, because Absolutely. I'm going to really have to bundle up.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're really self-aware, Grant. And I think for our audience, what would be, a tip to kind of get to that place of becoming a bit more aware of how our routines may be a bit deficient in terms of looking after our well-being, and how, maybe introducing some of these concepts that you're talking about might be the first step of gaining greater understanding of our self-awareness. Maybe you have some thoughts on how do we increase greater self-awareness?
I think asking for feedback, from your loved ones, from your colleagues at work, your peers, and being humble and able to accept feedback, even if it's not necessarily what you like to hear. And another thing is journaling. I think if you're feeling a little bit off, or maybe not quite as positive or happy, sometimes it's good just to get out a pen and a piece of paper and just start writing down how you feel. And once you start writing, certain things will start to flow out of that pen, and that might help you be a little bit more self-aware. And then if you're in that position where you are willing to change and to commit to improving yourself, I would, start with one thing, make one change, whether it's focusing on your sleep or, drinking a little bit more water, or, going for that 30 to 45 minute walk, or doing like a guided meditation. If you just start with one thing and you apply it every day for a couple of weeks, you should notice if you're feeling better, and people around you might even comment and say that something's changed. You sound better, or you seem more happy, or you're more calm, or whatever.
Yeah, you're glowing. You're not as short as you are. You're so patient. all those things that we want to hear from our partners, right? And
totally.
But in our workplace, everybody wants to be more productive, more efficient, more effective in how we get those outcomes and those benchmarks and reaching those important pieces of each of our jobs. Our listeners probably don't know this, but GFit has been incredibly generous in, this past holiday. They put on a campaign for us. And as we're on this journey as a third-party fundraiser, which is just awesome, we raised a few $1,000s that just goes right back into the work that we do here at CMHA Manitoba Winnipeg. But now we have this 330 challenge that we've been really focused on in the last number of weeks, where Brandon's going to go out on his bike, and he has Emily Potter, our Team Canada professional basketball player, and their siblings, and heading out to Hecla, next Saturday. And so we're really, really excited about, sharing with our audience more and more about how they can get involved in supporting CMHA. And I guess, Grant, what's been your experience in why someone should consider supporting the CMHA in our Ride Don't Hide?
I think mental health is more important than ever, and I think if anything that the last year and a half or so has taught us is that more and more people are struggling. More and more people are no longer afraid to talk about it, and more people need help than ever. And an organization like the CMHA has a tremendous amount of resources available to help people, and to reduce the stigma, and to build awareness, and to be proactive in taking care of your mental health. But obviously it does cost money, and it does take funding in order to implement and to deliver some of these programs. So I just really encourage people to go out and to learn more, and to click on the links, and to participate, and to donate, because we all know somebody in our family, a friend, a coworker, that has struggled. And there's probably a lot of people that are struggling that we love and care about that we aren't even aware of. I just really encourage people to learn more, and to contribute, and to help spread the word, and to build awareness.
Going back to even when you say take that time to write in your journal, or take that time to do that one guided meditation, it's almost like that cascade. It's like really connect with what are the reasons why you want to support mental health. And so I can see that sort of tying in together. It's you click on that link, you do something like that, and then it's the cascade of you're learning more, and you're really building the passion to raise those funds or to support mental health in your own way. And that's what we're all about with the Ride Don't Hide, is to give back, move more, and feel better. So Grant, thank you so much for this interview today. I just want to give you the opportunity to let people know anything that's coming up, or anything that you'd like people to do if they want to learn more about GFit.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check out our website. We're actually launching a new website in a couple of weeks. We have a great website already, but the next website is going to be on a whole nother level. It's gfitwellness.ca. Or you can check out any of our social media platforms, GFit_wellness. And, we're constantly innovating. We've got, tremendous programs and resources. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. Send us an email. Our contact info is on the website. Send us a DM to any of our social media platforms, and I'd be happy to help or answer any questions that you might have.
Well, it goes without saying, Grant, that we love the partnership that we have with GFit Wellness. We look forward to the months and years ahead of us, because what's great about this is we're learning from each other. And well-being connection is all about connecting with each other, and not forgetting about how important connecting to our well-being is. So thanks for being a guest. James, last word for you.
Yeah, just thank you so much, Grant. I've learned so much. I've gained a lot of inspiration from just hearing how to balance everything. And we've talked a lot about the 8 dimensions of wellness. We go through a different one each time. And it's amazing to hear someone who's been so successful, and yet at the same time is able to be vulnerable, and able to share, and able to be human, and have that connection to everyone around. So thank you so much, Grant, and take care.
Thank you for the opportunity. Have a great day, guys.
there we have it. The interview with Grant Reid was so inspiring to me, and it was so inspiring to hear Brandon as well. Brandon is undergoing an incredible feat this weekend. You can hear about it in the previous episodes, and it all culminates in this one. I mean, this is a really, really huge undertaking. It's just going to mean so much to so many people, including myself. Thank you.